If you want to go full driving, buy an 80 series. G'day guys, welcome back to the channel built Prado. Now today is a very exciting video. It's the Prado 90 series versus the brand new 76 series, okay? So obviously the 76, 79, 2024 models have just come out. People are getting them on the roads. Now I have done a few comparisons before, you guys seem to love them, so let's get right into this one. So we're going to go through some categories, same as other videos. It'll be like price, engine, torque, space, all that sort of categories. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so the new engine in the brand new 76, 79, you've got the two variants. You have the V8 traditional manual, which we've known for ages, the VDJ, and there's also going to be the 2.8 litre Hilux motor, okay? So that's obviously, pretty well known motor as well. It's a 4-cylinder diesel. And then in the Prado 90, you got the 1KZ, 1KD. So that's a 3 litre diesel motor, 4-cylinder, okay? So that's just before the D4D generation that was in the N70 Hilux. So, 2.8 litre modern diesel and then a 3 litre, almost 30-year-old diesel. So they're your motors, kind of similar size. The V8 one we're not comparing because that one's just way bigger and not really in the same category. Now obviously automatic gearbox in that brand new 76, and then the Prados they also did manual and automatic as well. For the Workmate 76, it's about 76k, okay? So and that's in 2024, which is obviously like a lot, but it's a car with 0Ks, which is good. And I think it has electric windows now and a cup holder, so they've sort of upgraded their interior a bit more. And then the Prado 90, the diesel variant, you pick them up anywhere between, I'd say between like 12 and 20k for like, that's sort of your broad range there. You might be able to snag one up for like 10k, but those will also have 250 kilometers, 250,000 or more kilometers, okay? So obviously a lot more Ks, the car's almost, 30 years old. And then these ones are coming out with 0Ks, but you got like a 3-year wait time, so up to you on that one. Okay, so let's look at the design, and I think design's a massive thing because as you can see, these got a lot of hate for their looks when they first launched out in August. Now, I was always not, I thought it was alright. I didn't think it was amazing, but I thought they did a good job. Now, this is the old one here, the 70th series edition. You can see the headlights in there, they've slightly got those black, sort of, instead of it being white and clear, it's black, and I think that looks kind of cool. But now this one here, they've obviously gone for the 70 series look, and they've literally just got those massive indicators right there. Now, a lot of people hated them. Obviously they're just trying to copy the original look and keep it looking the same. There'll be a lot of aftermarket support on these, and I wouldn't be surprised if everyone swaps those out for like clear indicators or something, because they are quite big, but I think it looks alright. And I love the little like sort of big silver bumper at the bottom. I think that looks good. And the lights, a lot of people are hating on them, saying it looks like a Wish headlight or something because it's sort of got the little like square indents in it and it looks a bit funny, but I think they did alright. And the thing is, these headlights, they're when you drive on the road at night, for example, if you turn a corner, they'll actually like lean and turn that corner, so they're very like fancy advanced headlights. So you can't really swap them out just for a random 7-inch light off eBay like your Patrols and whatever, because these sort of have a bit more technology going on than that. So yeah, like you could swap them out, but then you're kind of eliminating the factory, how the lights should work from factory, which could be into a bit like, defectable and all that. It's not how the car came from factory. But as you can see there, that's a really good photo of what they look like. I think they look fine. And then literally the back 3/4 is the exact same. So you do also lose the bonnet scoop, which is a bit of a shame because everyone loves those. They put them on their GQs, other cars. They look really nice, the iconic 79 series bonnet scoop. But they've opted, especially for that 2.4 litre engine, they've opted for a little scoop that goes just under that grille, just above that Toyota badge, and then that actually airflows it for the V8 all on the top mount intercooler. So it does still kind of work the same as the other one. Okay, then here the Prado 90 series, as you can see, it's pretty iconic. Unlike most full drives, it's got those big plastic flares that go up around the arch, halfway around the door and around the back. Now, there are other full drives that have flares, but Prado 90 back in the day, they got a lot of flares. Like, if you look at it, almost like half that car is just plastic on the bottom, which is great in terms of damage and replacing. You know, it's plastic, so the panels, if it gets damaged and rusted, if it was just normal steel, but the plastic won't do that, okay? So there is a pro there, but it is literally just held on by plastic clips, which, you know, after 30 years they do deteriorate a little bit. But as you can see, they're pretty cool looking because of that plastic. Makes them look a little bit different to all the other four-wheel drives. And there's obviously the short wheelbase Prado as well, which is showing up here as well. But yeah, we've seen these around everywhere. They've already, you know, paved away for themselves. And then here we've got here, this is an RV6 model, so not GXL. We'll have no power windows or anything like that. And you can see there, it's just got the plastic bumper on the back, but none on the sides. So, and obviously these from afar, if you squint your eyes, they look a little bit like a 76. They've got the wagon shape and body. But you know, obviously this was based off, you know, the Prado 70 series borderline, but these are meant to be like a family SUV. But there's not much more to say than that. These have been out for a while. You know, their front lights, the later models are glass, which is good. It doesn't fade to plastic, which is really cool. But if you get a Prado that's more like 2000s, 2002, 2003, the front lights are actually plastic, and then they do fade yellow, which is interesting. So keep that in mind. But yeah, mine's a 1996, and it's actually glass, and that's why it never sun faded, which is interesting. And then yeah, these have been around for ages. You can see what they look like, variant models around the world. And yeah, I think they've done well for what they need to do for their price range as well these days. But you know, compared to the new 70 series that's just come out, I have a Prado 90 and I think they look pretty cool, but I actually really do like the look of the new one that's just come out. And you know, maybe you agree with me, but they look very nice when they're modded up, and I think people are slowly starting to like them. Alright, so the interior, it's what everyone's been talking about. Brand new model ENQUIRES just come out, not a manual, which is crazy. And then here's the interior. So got it here on the screen. As you can see, the left side's pretty similar. It was pretty much identical, to be honest, which is great for the aftermarket support. All those mods that already exist, they're already going to be able to be compatible with all this interior. We also look over here. You can see in the middle here, we've actually got a little touch screen, which is great. You know, they're progressing. There's progression there. And we also have the automatic shifter, which is very crazy. Never seen that in a 76 series before. And looks to be a cup holder on the left. All the heater controls look identical. They look quite old-fashioned. And obviously, you know, this is going to be the new interior. Now this is a base model. You can see it doesn't even have a radio in it, okay? Now I'm pretty sure all the Australian variants will have the radio in it at the minimum. So you can see there, gear lever, it looks very similar setup to the Hilux automatic gearbox, even the inside there. A bit of space there, heaps of room for ports like light bars or winch, whatever attachments you want to put on there. And then down there you can see you got your full drive stick. Now it looks to be like 4 high, 4 low, pretty standard. And there's actually buttons on the steering wheel, which is crazy for a 70 series. And that just does your radio, Bluetooth, very simple setup sort of stuff. And that's almost the whole interior really that's changed. It's still got the same door cards, same everything else. So it's also got a brand new cluster gauge, which looks kind of cool. It's based off, I think it's based off the old FJs, HJs back in the day, but it's really arced and high rainbowed. You can sort of see in that photo there. So there, that's the old 79 series cluster. So see how it's pretty traditional. There you go, you can see it there. So as you can see, it's got like 4 on the bottom, rev counter on the left, and then the speed in the middle. And then on the right there, that's actually a little screen, and it's pretty similar to the one on the Hilux. And that just controls like your speed gauge, temperature. You can just see on their little stats. You can do an odometer, a trip reading on there, and you can change the color of it. It's pretty simple. Even the Toyota Camrys have a similar one inside their cluster, like the 2015 model. So it's nothing fancy, but for a 70 series, this is just next level. So take what you can get. Now I will also say, for the design of the 79/76 series, you can see the side profile here. Now that back left, it just looks like a normal 79, but obviously the front here, the front bumper comes out really far. Some people are giving a bit of negativity for that. And to be fair, the previous model did that as well, which does look a bit funny. but you can just see the bonnet there. It goes very high and very low. Now normally there's a bonnet scoop, this doesn't have one. That was getting a lot of criticism as well for that bonnet scoop. Now another thing to remember is that for them to surpass road safety rules, and because the 79 had pretty much no safety at all, they had to change the car from car category to like a small truck category, which means that their indicators had to be upgraded a lot bigger, okay? So you'll see in most of the photos that all the indicators, I'm not talking about the one near the light, I'm talking about the one that's near the front door. They're actually a lot bigger now. So if I go here, you can just see it there under the snorkel. They're massive. Now, to me they're quite ugly. It's a shame they have to do that, but you know, they haven't got any airbags or anything, and the doors are very thin and they crumple. So to bypass the car rules, they just turned it into a small truck, which is pretty funny. Classic from Toyota. But there you go. So big indicators, if you're a fan of that, there you go. And just remember, that's not actually a snorkel. That's actually an air intake, a raised air intake, okay? People mistake them for snorkels, but there's a split right between the join there, just in line with that mirror, in line with the bonnet. And yeah, it's not a snorkel, it's actually an air intake. So just keep that in mind. Now I'm just going to skim over the 90 series interior because I've talked about it so much in the past year. But as you can see here, I've just got up this quick photo here. Pretty standard, no airbags like the 70 series. You got your dual tanks, you got your aircon there in the middle. This is a manual, so you sort of lose a lot of that center console space, but in the automatic you get a whole compartment to put things down because it's just like sort of one lever. And then you can just see that you got your radio, aircon above that, hazard lights, 3 pedals, manual, and yeah, it's pretty simple, but it works. You know, most Prados had all electric windows and stuff, which the 70 series is only just getting now properly. So, you know, and that's without getting, you know, a top of the range model. So yeah, Prado 90 series interior's been great. It's held up, it's aged well. But obviously this new interior's come out for the 70 series, which is pretty basically like the old one. They've just put an automatic gear lever in the middle and a touch screen. So, you know, I'll be honest, a lot of farmers and them sort of people who are going to buy that new 76, I don't think they're going to be a huge fan of the touch screen. It looks a bit cheap and small, and you know, you just want buttons realistically at the end of the day. You just want to use your radio with buttons. It's so much easier, so much nicer than sort of blind tapping when you're driving. It's way easier to press buttons. So that's just my opinion, but a lot of people who are going to buy those 70 series to just go farming, all the new technology and stuff, that could let them down. Whereas these Prados, you know, they're older car, don't have any of that. So less to go wrong. So aftermarket support, honestly, pretty similar, but I am going to give this one to the 76 because there is more mods for those cars, and also they need them because they don't have, you know, armrests and that sort of stuff. So there's definitely a lot more audience as well in those cars, don't get me wrong. So the 76, 79 series, they're going to get the aftermarket support in terms of which one has more of. Now, the value for money, every time this category, it's always the cheapest car wins essentially, because you can't tell me that, like, let's say a petrol Prado that's like 10 grand is, you know, the same capability and drivability as a 76 like 4-cylinder Hilux brand new. There's pros and cons in both, so this one's going to go to the Prado in terms of value for money. In terms of safety as well, the safety is going to go to the Prado as well. This is simply because a lot of the high range models have an airbag in the steering wheel, and you can also get models that have it in the passenger dash as well. So you can get 2 airbags in these, whereas the 70 series, as we know, for the longest time hasn't really had any airbags. Now they've got 1 in the steering wheel, and you know, they've obviously also had to, you know, change their ute / car into a truck category to bypass the safety laws. So the safety is also going to go to the Prado 90 series in this category. We covered over this before a bit in the engines, but in terms of the longevity and the reliability, I'm gonna have to give it to the 70 series, because you know, you got the V8 motor, legendary motor, can never stop, and then you also got that new Hilux motor. It is still early days, but you know, the 2.8 litre D4D motor, it's still going to be able to run and go really well, so that's also going to be getting that award. But don't get me wrong though, don't hit the Prados, don't hit them down, because they're crazy. The petrol motor will do $500,000 if you're taken care of, and the 1KZ, 1KD, also really good motors. So they're both really up there, but I'm just going to give it to the 70 series because it's a bit more basically built and they've been around longer like the older models, okay? So I'd almost like to say it's a tie for this category, to be honest, but I think the 70 series might just win it. Now it's funny, the diesel Hilux motor and the V8 motor in these new 70 series, they actually produce the same amount of kilowatts. So the 2.8 diesel is 151 kilowatts and the V8 is 150, so 1 kilowatt difference, pretty much the exact same. And this is obviously coming down to the fact that that V8 motor is very low down tuned, hence why it goes so long. It's running at like 1/10 of its capacity, whereas that 2.8 litre Hilux motor might be running at like 5/10 of its capacity. So it's obviously going to be sort of wearing out a bit quicker, whereas that V8 is very underpowered, just humbles along, hence why it does so many Ks. And it's funny because the 2.8 litre has 500 newton meters of torque, whereas that 4.5 litre V8 has 430 newton meters of torque. So the smaller motor has more torque as well, but as we know, you put a few mods in that V8, give it a tune, you know, you can get 800 newton meters of torque. So it really just depends what you're trying to do with your car. You know, those V8 79s obviously super underpowered, made to be really low category in terms of power, but you know, they also go the distance, unlike these new cars. So there's some interesting stats for you may not know. So there's no official stats for the fuel capacity on the new 2.4 litre 70 series, but if you look at the 2.8 litre motor in the Prados and Hiluxes, we can get a pretty close basing off that. And they're getting about 630 Ks a tank. After the fuel light comes on, there's about 150 kilometers in that as well. So that's roughly about 780 kilometers per tank with the 2.8 litre 4-cylinder diesel, okay? So put that, you know, in a 70 series, you know, you might get a little bit less because the car's a bit heavier, but it really just depends on your driving as well. So that compared to the Prado 90, if we're talking about the diesel variant, it would be very sort of similar in range, but the Prado 90 has 2 tanks, so it's going to be more. So it's not really a fair comparison. If you're putting it to the petrol one, the one I have, it'd be pretty close, but it depends what tyres you got as well. There's so many variants, but talking about a stock Prado 90 petrol, it will probably be pretty similar because they do about 13 litres per 100 on the petrol, but it's all-wheel drive, so it uses more fuel, but you've got 2 tanks, so you're getting more fuel capacity from the start. So yeah, it just depends on all those factors, but there you go. So roughly about 780 kilometers per tank for the diesel. So you can get a front diff locker standard in the GXL models of the 76, 79 for $1,500. So obviously once you get that locker in there, that will be more capable than the Prado 90's just center locking diff. But then, you know, they've also got leaf springs and Prados are coils all around. So in terms of flex, the Prado's got it. So yeah, just little things like that may add up to you in your opinion if you're trying to get one. But I've had mine just a center locking diff and I've seemed to have done Fraser Island and heaps of tracks just fine. So it really just depends what you want. But if you're going for those really hardcore tracks, a Prado 90 twin locked would just walk up anything. So it really just depends what you're into, but if you want to go full driving, buy an 80 series. Right, conclusion. Honestly, both great cars. They're borderline not comparable because the price range and they're 30 years apart, but I will have to give this probably to the Prado only because the value for money is just insane. It's probably like 1/7 the price of the brand new 76. Granted, the 76 will last longer because it's a brand new car. But if you want something agricultural that will go the distance and you've got money to spend, buy the 76. But if you're a bit tighter on money and you just want to camp and explore, the Prado 90 will do everything the 76 could do. Fuel range is pretty similar. If you get the diesel variant of the Prado 90, it will be way further than the 70 series. If you just want to mod a lot out of the car, probably buy a 70 series. They're brand new, everyone's excited about them. If you want street cred, probably get the 70 series, the new one, because everyone's going to be looking at those. With the Prado 90s, you know, they're everywhere. A lot of people are choosing to drive to work like normal, so they're not like that special, sadly. But it's just because they're reliable, so they get used as family cars. So yeah, so honestly, up to you what you think's the winner, but I'm gonna pick the Prado, maybe a bit biased, but don't get me wrong, I think the 76 is a very good looking car. I would definitely have one if I could afford one. And yeah, I just think they're really good and they do what they need to do. And they haven't changed the design of the back 3/4, which just shows it's a nice design and it's staying around and it's old and iconic in that sense. So yeah, in terms of practicality and seats and space, they're like very similar. So one of the reasons I painted my car sandy taupe was because it almost looks like a 76, because they're very similar shape. So that's my conclusion. Hopefully that helps you out a little bit. Let me know if you like this video by telling me down in the comments down below. If you want to see more of these types of videos, let me know and I'll make some more. But yeah, that's my comparison. If you have any other questions, put them in the comments. Like and subscribe really helps me out. I want to hit 10,000 subs by some point next year. And I'll catch you guys next time on Built Prado.